6 for the EV, ride around my city. You should come ride with me, yeah. Feel me if you hear me sip water like a fish, sip box water to the gillies, yeah. It's a new wave, this a takeover. Do it for the future, time to get a world a makeover. Time never stops, no the timing is not. Time to clean up the block. Streets been a mess, how can I breathe? Smoke in the air, pure gasoline. I see.
What's good, family? It's your boy Damon up in the building for We Talk Hawks TV. We Talk Hawks daily. Back with y'all. Guess what, family? We got an interview today. Y'all see the title at the bottom. We got an interview with the man, the myth, the legend. Y'all call him Matt. I'll call him Trae Young doesn't have to play defense. Y'all call him Matt. I call him Trae Young can do no wrong. Y'all call him Matt. I call him DeJounte Murray's a dim star. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all saw I had to do the old intro because y'all know Matt is an OG on the channel. Been here for a hot minute since day one. He got his own little following in the chat. When the Hawks win or lose and certain players don't play well, the chat always say, "Where is Matt?" Because they be wanting to let Matt have it. But I also call Matt Mr. I'm never wrong. We need to do it my way if we want to be successful. My way is the only way. So with no further ado, let me bring my guy Matt in the building. What's good, Mr. Matt, my guy?
What's up? What's up? All that admiration is very, very appreciated. Very appreciated. You know, the good and the bad, I could take it. I could take it. West side of Detroit, I could take it.
Matt is my guy. So we're gonna let the fans. We're gonna learn a little bit more about Matt. Hopefully, maybe I can learn something new about Matt. So let's go ahead with the first question, Matt. Tell us where you're from. And how did you become a Hawks fan?
Okay. From Detroit, Michigan, west side of Detroit, over by Henry Ford High School, off Evergreen in 7 Mile. I grew up being a Pistons fan, still a Pistons fan at heart, but rough couple years. But around 2004, we had hired Larry Brown, and he hired an assistant, Mike Woodson, to be his lead assistant with the Pistons during the second iteration of the Bad Boy Pistons, go to work Pistons as we call them. Hard nosed, probably the best defensive team in a single season in long time. You know, it was historic at the time. I mean, they held, I believe, 20 something teams under 80 points during a game. So, I mean, that was, you know, you grew up around that. Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, of course, you know, Rip. Not to have an all-star or, you know, a superstar, as we label it, and to win a championship and dismantle the Lakers, in which they did in 2004. But then before that, to take apart the Indiana Pacers with Reggie Miller, Tayshaun Prince, chase down block. I mean, so as much as the people up here don't believe I care about defense, I do. But you adapt and you innovate around what you have. And so we have an offensive team. So I think, and personally, I like offense. I played, you know, a little shooting guard back in the day. So
what you're saying is the Hawks. The reason you don't harp defense because you don't think we can play it.
I mean,
at the end of the day, that's pretty much what you're saying.
Consistently at a high level, yes.
That's weird because all the times we go back and forth, I ain't never heard you say, you know what, Damon, we just can't defend. Why you just don't ever say that? But we're not gonna go there. It's about Matt.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it don't take much for me and Matt to start going back and forth. Okay, so what was the turning point that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna follow the Hawks and support the Hawks?
So we came down here as a family around 2005. Mike Woodson, I believe, came that summer as well. And so coming from Larry Brown, coming from Detroit, Mike Woodson was brought to, deliver the Hawks back from the horrible, doldrums of 10, 15, 13 win seasons, 21 seasons. So he brought that hard-nosed mentality. He brought that physicality and that relevancy back to the Hawks. So I was like, okay, I rock with Mike Woodson. I rock with Mike Woodson, so I'm gonna rock with, so I'm gonna start following the Hawks more closely. And
So when
so
you say Matt, when you say your family came down to Atlanta, are you saying vacational or did y'all move to Atlanta?
move to Atlanta,
Okay.
2005.
All righty.
Yeah, 2005.
So move
And
to Atlanta,
so
and you decided
2005,
because Mike Woodson.
my guy Woody, yeah, my guy Woody. And so
Oh,
I
your
said,
guy
all right,
Woody. Okay.
yeah,
I'm
my
just
guy
making
Woody.
mental notes for later
Yeah.
debates on down the line.
Okay.
So your boy Woodson.
Like I said,
Okay.
I those Pistons teams, even like I said back in the day, those 90 Piston teams, I do care about defense, but and me personally, when I played, I was a good defender. So I do care about defense much more than y'all think, but I understand what we have. So you gotta innovate, and you gotta work with what you got and lean into that strength. And so our strength is offense. So, and being that I like offense, I like offensive concepts, I like offensive design, how it flows together. So I understand, like, you gotta be a good defensive team, but especially in the modern NBA, you look at Denver and Miami, you got to get stops. You don't have to be this locked. You don't have to be the 2004 Pistons. You know what I'm saying? You just got to get timely stops.
Yeah, but timely stops usually come from teams that can defend. That defense. See what? So my point. So if you defend well as a team, even if you're not a top 5 defensive team, but if you can defend at least at the average level. So Denver is an average defensive team. They're not bad. They're not elite, but they're average. Then guess what?
Right.
Yes, you can have those moments to get a timely stop. But when you're a bad defensive team, which means you can't defend, you don't understand how to defend, then guess what? You're not going to get those timely stops. Because if you can't defend the regular plays, what makes you think you're going to be able to defend in clutch moments? You feel me? But let me ask you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we know about Matt on this channel? We know Matt is a big Trae Young fan. He is got to be the biggest Trae Young. Trae Young can do no wrong according to Mr. Matt. So my question to you is this, Matt. We got Trae, what, 20? It was 2017 with the draft, or was 2018?
2018.
I can't remember. My mind tripping. But so in 2018, did you want the Hawks to draft? No, let me say it like this. Was Trae Young, say, on your top 5 players that you wanted the Hawks to draft at the time when we was picking third overall?
He was second. So
who was first? Porter Jr.?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
See, we got something in common. I was a
Porter
Jr. fan, but when Porter Jr. hurt his back, and then he hurt his back in college, then he tried to come back for the tournament. That's when I was like, hopefully, if he's there in later round at 15 or something, hopefully he's there. We could take him. I wanted Porter. Well, I wanted. I'm gonna keep it real. I wanted what's my guy name from Duke?
Luka.
No, from Duke.
Oh, you wanted Bagley?
I wanted Bagley. I was a Bagley supporter at first. This is before the draft. So January, I was a Bagley supporter. Then I switched to a Luka Doncic supporter because I started looking at EuroLeague probably 2 months before the draft because I heard his name float and I said, let me look at him. I was like, yeah, I want this guy. Okay. Everybody know I didn't want Trae Young. He wasn't even in my top 3 of guys. But so when we draft Trae Young, what was your initial expectations when we drafted Trae Young? Did you think he was going to be a good player, or did you think this dude is generational off the rip before he even played the game?
I knew his passing was generational. The scoring, I'll be honest with you, I thought he would be around 22, 23 points a game, similar to Darius Garland. I didn't think he would his game. I didn't think the scoring would translate as easily as it did. And to go back a minute, the reason that I wanted Michael Porter Jr. was because the first time that I saw Trey play, Trey and Michael Porter Jr. play together was in South Carolina at the Pro-Am, the Nike Peach Jam in South Carolina. And so it's all these different AAU teams, their showcase. And so I seen him in person. He was probably 16, 17. Michael Porter was by far the best player on that team. His brother was probably the second best player on that team. Trae Young was he was noticeable because of his passing and he shot long threes, but that was really it. He wasn't this, showman as he is now. He kind of developed that at Oklahoma, but I'm like, he okay, but he didn't really catch your eye, really. He wasn't no standout guy. But right. Michael Porter got all the shots. The team was centered around Michael Porter. I'm like, this dude is cold. Like the way his shot. Number one player, Gatorade Player of the Year. Mr. Basketball. He was legit. So I'm like, okay, he's the one. We got to get him. And then the injury happened, and then Trae Young exploded at Oklahoma. And I'm like, he got a little Jimmer for debt in him. I don't know how that's going to translate, to the NBA. I knew the passing would, but the scoring, because he's so small, I didn't know if he could be able to get to the rim consistently as he did in Oklahoma. So I thought he would be a good player. I didn't necessarily see the offensive output that he's done, especially his second year. But the passing, you always knew that the passing was going to be there. The IQ, it's clear from day one.
Okay, so we got your thoughts on Trey. I'm gonna come back to Trey. Let me pivot on a different topic. So we know you follow basketball. We know you follow it. You like to get a little deep with it. The X's and O's. Your sources and all that stuff. But let me ask you this. Before, and we know you're a college graduate you graduated from UNC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you ever think about going into sports journalism while you was a youngster or while you was in college?
Yes.
Before
when I was a teenager.
Before your current career right now, did you ever think about going into sports journalist or sports debating? Because I know you like to go back and forth. So
I actually wanted to do journalism. Yeah, I thought about journalism. I said, okay, I love writing. I love research. I love putting together persuasive arguments. So I said, I'm going to be a journalist. So I did some internships with the local newspaper, just writing like articles in school, different things like that. And so I really keened in on English and writing, grammar, all that stuff. And then my dad had me meet a producer for ESPN back in probably 2004. And so we talked about it, and I'm like, I'm going to be the next, so-and-so. I'm going to be the next Stephen A. I'm going to be the next, major sports guy. And then he told me the career path, what that looked like as far as having to move, kind of the nomad lifestyle, having to move from newspaper to newspaper. You write for this little newspaper, then you come up, and then the constant moving. I was like, and then the salary matched with the moving. I was like, that's not for me. I can't do that. So then I pivoted. I'm going to go to law school. And then, so I did politics and philosophy in college. And then I was like, I got to pay for law school. So let me get a job real quick. And so then I just pivoted into HR that I do now.
All right. Have you ever thought about going back down that route? Like maybe writing small, for like small, I know I know they used to have a couple small like little Atlanta Hawk little blogs. I don't know if they still got them. I know they used to have them back in the day, probably about 5-6 years ago. You ever thought about starting your own little blog, writing about the Hawks or just basketball in general?
Yeah, I had I forgot the name of it. It was a Tumblr blog back in the day. I forget the name of it now, but it was a sports basketball blog. Because back in the day, I was gonna first it was doctor, then it was coaching, and then that path was, it's long, circuitous, long road. So I was like, I can't do that either. So then it was
Well, let's
journalism.
hold on. Let's dive into that a little bit. Let's talk about the coaching.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever coached at a level like rec league, AAU, little kids? You ever done that before?
Yeah, so I did AAU, scouting coaching for AAU team in North Carolina, the Royals. And then I did some church league. I did high school behind the bench. And I was going to be an undergrad assistant in college basketball, but it wasn't necessary. Once I got there, and again, like you got to go get most times you have to go get a graduate degree, and then you got to go sit at the end of the bench, and then you move around a lot, sit on this guy's staff, sit on that guy's staff, and when you get maybe 45, you might get a lead assistant role, and then the recruiting as well. So it was going to be college coaching, and so I must say, I have one of my family members is a coach, coached in the NBA, played in the NBA for a decade, coached in the NBA, coached with Phil Jackson with the Lakers and the Bulls, was a head coach actually for the Dallas Mavericks in the 90s, 1997, Jim Clemens, played for the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. And so we talk about basketball all the time. So my whole family, we talk about basketball. So
you tell Mr. Clemens that you don't believe in defense for the Atlanta Hawks. Now what you tell him?
I do believe in defense. I do believe in defense, but again, like I said, I personally, I wish we played more defense than we do. But at the same time, I understand that you got to play to your strengths. We are an offensive team because of Trey, and so as long as we can get to an average defensive team, 13, 14, 15, I think Quinn is going to be able to produce a top 3, top 5 offense for his entire tenure. So we're going to be, I think, at 118, 120 a game here on out. It's about just getting, like I said,
defensive rating. What defensive rating or you offensive rating?
No, I'm saying offensively. I think we're going to be
I'm about
between
to say
118.
118.
Yeah, no. Defensively, we just got to get it down, maybe 113, 111, somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand, like, I'll be talking to like Mike and them all the time. We're not going to ever, in my opinion, we're never going to be this vaunted top 5 defense that, you know what I'm saying, leads the league in blocks and steals. And we're never going to be the Lakers of the bubble year when they were like one of the best defensive teams all the time.
Well, why we can't beat Miami? Miami was terrible defensively this year and then turn it up in the playoffs. Lakers was terrible during the regular season, turn it up in the playoffs. So I mean,
well, they got two really good defenders.
We're gonna come back there. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Okay, this is more about Matt. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, Matt. If you would have had me on your church league team, you would have had a ring on your finger. Okay, if I was on your church league team. But what made you say? Because you already know, like with coaching, same thing as players. You know, you even in regular careers, you got to start at the bottom, right? You just can't come in and just be a lead assistant. You just can't come in. I mean, everybody know Eric Spoelstra's story, video guy in '95. Fast forward, 6-7 years, he's a head coach. What really? Because from the short time that I've known you and the back and forth we've had up here on Twitter, you seem really dedicated to sports. What made you say, I'm gonna stop writing my Tumblr blog? I'm not gonna pursue trying to be a coach. Um when you have put in, okay, church league, AAU, high school, to me that sounded like you was already putting in the work, writing a Tumblr blog. So you was already putting in the grassroots, the leg work that you got to do at the beginning of any career. What made you not want to stick with that?
Probably it wasn't just the time commitment to it. I mean, like I said, you're talking about 12, 13 years of an assistant where, um, it was probably, I said, well, believe it or not, Demont, I'm very altruistic, so I do care about other people. And
Word of the day, guys. Word of the day from Matt. Word of the day.
So I said, okay, well, what can I? So I said, well, coaching can help people, obviously in the sport arena, but what can I do to help, the greatest number of people around me? And I said, well, medicine is out because I don't really do blood. So I said, well, I could be a lawyer. A lawyer can help a lot of different people in a lot of different avenues in life, housing, the criminal justice system. And then that tapped into like my love of politics and my love of philosophy. So I said, well, let me just do that instead. And so it's a more straight path as opposed to coaching, where it's like it's a lot about connections as well with coaching. You got to know the right coaches. You got to know. It's more about friendships more than what you know. Like you can know a lot of X's and O's, backwards and forward, but if you don't know, how to get in the right circles, then you're going to be at Middle Tennessee State for 15 years trying to climb up that coaching.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, look at the assistant coach we just hired. My man had how many years at Notre Dame?
20, but he was the head coach.
Yeah, but
he was the head coach.
But they all start somewhere, dog. They all got to, I mean,
That's
all
true.
these coaches. Look at Coach Bud. Coach Bud was started at Santa Clara. He moved up. He was on the Spurs coaching staff for 20 years, and he wasn't the lead assistant the whole time. He started at the bottom of the assistants and worked his way up as other assistants moved off to other jobs. Look at you could have been like Lloyd Pierce. Lloyd Pierce had no prior head coaching jobs anywhere. But for some reason,
that's true.
But for some reason,
I think a lot of that had to do though.
He was wise.
He's best friends with Steve Nash, right? So that's how he got into the NBA with the Cavaliers. Is that Steve Nash kind of hooked him up there as a player developmental guy. Then he went to he met and became like close with Hollins. I forgot his first name. With Memphis. So he went to Memphis for a few years, and then he went to Golden State, and he became friends with Travis. That's the only reason he got the job, because he became friends with Travis. Because at the time, Travis was the college director or whatever college scouting director for the Warriors. And so he had Pierce run his draft workouts. And so Pierce, they became close.
And Pierce was working as a development coach for the Sixers. So I mean,
that too. Yeah, that came after. That came later though. But yeah, that is about connections though. Yeah, if he never would have went to college with Santa Clara with Steve Nash, I'm not saying he never would have made it to the NBA, but it's, what I'm saying.
That sounds like somebody I know in our front office named Landry Fields. If he didn't know Nick Wrestler, he wouldn't be our GM. But that's another topic. That's a topic for another day that we gonna get on. See, I'm right too. That's why you're nodding your head. I'm right on that. I'm right. But all right, so let's move on to let me ask you this. Have you thought about starting back up writing your blog?
I thought about
basketball?
I thought about it because, like I said, I still love the X's and O's of it. I like scouting as well. I thought about going into scouting too. I have a couple friends that are scouts for different
Okay, let's talk about this.
organizations.
Let's talk about that. What makes you? What about scouting draws your interest?
I think being able to identify players, first of all, identifying systems that different teams have, different teams run, and then identifying players that fit that system. You know, each team you're looking for different characteristics of a player. Some teams like athleticism, certain teams like pass, shoot, and dribble, like guys that are ambidextrous, like guys that have a bag offensively. Other teams don't care about that. They only care about defense and defensive tools and agility and height. And so it's about identifying talent that fit into a particular system and saying that like certain times, like you look at a guy in college and you're like, he's gonna be good. Then you get into the pros and he a bust. You know, like Jaron, the guy we had last year, Jared Covert. I could have sworn Covert was going to be a really good player, but you know, whatever reason, the shot that was just ever developed, and so you know. In the NBA, as much as they say we love defense. If you can't score, you know, unless you're an exceptional all-world defender, if you can't score, you're not going to have a long career in the NBA.
You're a liability.
So, but just identifying talent, identifying players, putting a puzzle together, you know, basically. You know, you start with whatever position you want to start with, point guard or center. Like in football, you start at the line and then you build out. In basketball, either you start at the point guard or the center and you build out. And then you mismatch parts to put it together as a puzzle to fit, and they're all supposed to complement each other. So that's what I like about scouting.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm glad I'm saving that in my brain. So when we going back and forth, I'm just saving all the stuff.
Oh, speaking of that, Hawk fans, Maxwell Lewis. That is my guy in this draft. You know, he is going to be a really good player. Maxwell Lewis.
Y'all hear that from Matt the Scout, Maxwell Lewis. That means I hope we don't draft him because he's probably not going to play here.
Maxwell
anyway.
Lewis. Write it down. Last year, me and another guy I'm not going to name, we was talking about it, and I had told him, I said, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, is going to be from Santa Clara. He's going to be legit. And he was, obviously. I mean, that's who Travis wanted, but he's, as you saw this past year, you know who that is, right? OKC.
Well, let me ask you this. Speaking for the Hawks, we pick him 15th. We know Maxwell Lewis is one. Give me another guy that you think we can take that's going to help us at 15.
Okay, I'll give you two.
All right.
One is Chris Murray. He played for Iowa, as his brother Keegan did last year. Really good player, older, not a great shooter, but shoot it well enough. Is a very good passer. Very good around the rim. Can take it off the dribble. He's like, if Jalen Johnson can shoot a little bit better, that's I mean, he don't have that athleticism, but as far as like the passing, getting to the rim down, putting your head down, getting to the rim, finishing with either hand, like he's just not athletic, but he has everything else. The IQ.
You ain't said nothing about defending. You
passing.
Really don't care about defense.
He's a
he's a good defender. You done named about 8 characteristics, and you ain't mentioned defending that one time.
He's not an all-world defender, but he's a good defender. He's solid.
Here we go.
He's as good as JJ, I think. He's a solid. He's not a terrible defender. He's not a terrible defender.
Who's the other guy you got?
Defender. Jordan Hawkins from UConn.
Can he defend?
Yes, he's a very good defender. He's a very good defender. Now, he's slight of frame, so he could get knocked back a little bit but he's a good defender. Last year he was a really good defender. This year it kind of dipped a little bit because he had to score, he was scoring offensively, but he's a very good shooter, Damon. Okay. I'm trying to think.
We got enough.
AJ.
We got enough shoot. We got enough
AJ.
shooting.
No. You can never get enough shooting. You need as much shooting as look at Miami. You talk about Miami as a blueprint. Look at Miami. They got 6 different shooters. You need as much shooting as you can get. And DeMar, he's very JJ Redick type shooter, like very, very good shooter. Probably better than AJ was coming out last year.
What position does this guy play?
Shooting guard. 6'5".
Tell me he at least 6'5", 6'6".
6'5".
Well, at least that's good.
Excellent shooter. Probably the best shooter. Probably the best shooter.
He ain't finna play for the Hawks if we draft him. He ain't finna play.
Why?
Where he gonna play at? Who minutes he taking? Never mind. Let me see. You get me off topic real fast. We gonna talk about. We gonna have a different show about these draft picks. We'll do a different show about that.
But Jordan, I would say for me, it's either Maxwell Lewis or Jordan Hawkins. One of those two.
Okay. All right. So here's my last 2 questions. Here's my last question, but it's 2 questions.
All right.
Give me your honest opinion about the Hawks season last year, and then give me your thoughts on what are your expectations of the Hawks next year with the roster we have right now. We know obviously trades could be made, moves, picks can be made, and whatsoever. But as the roster we have right now, which is just everybody who had from last year, what's your thoughts of the past season, include the playoffs, and what's your thoughts on this season going forward with this current roster with Quinn Snyder getting a full off season with the guys?
I would say last year was a disappointment, obviously because we gave up the picks to get Murray, but also because last season was supposed to establish ourselves as a, semi-contender in the Eastern Conference. The same way that people think about Philly, that second round team that can never get over the hump, but they're always in the conversation for some reason. We were supposed to be that team this year. And so I believe it had a lot to do with Nate. I said at the time that Trey and Murray was not an ideal fit. Just back early when I was talking about with scouting, like they don't really fit together organically. So you have to be very creative offensively how you put them together and defensively, because I knew Murray wasn't. Now I joke sometimes and say, he's a dim star and all that, which I believe that, but he's not. I knew he wasn't this like lockdown defender when we got him, but I thought he was better than what he showed this year. He got to stop going for steals so much. But together, I thought it was clunky. It wasn't really efficient. I thought a lot of times that they could hold the ball and not move it, and it's back and forth between them two for an entire possession, and then they might throw it to somebody with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. The consistency, the intensity wasn't there from the beginning of the season. So overall, it was a disappointment considering what we paid, considering the step that we were supposed to make. It was just. It didn't meet expectations. When Quinn took over, I knew that he would be able to fix the offense quickly because the offense is about schemes. Defensively, it's kind of about personnel. So it's different. So I knew the defense wasn't really going to take that big of a jump because you have to make structural changes to the roster to improve the defense. Offensively, you could move different players around. You can emphasize different spacing elements. You could do different things to make the offense better. Emphasizing offensive rebounds like he did. We led the NBA in second chance opportunities the second half of the year, and offensive rebounding. We also was like third in pace. So I knew offensively we were going to be really good under Quinn because he's an offensive genius. But I like the way that we ended the year. I don't want people to think like we're real close to Boston. We just need a little tweak to be on the same level as Boston because it went 6 games. Like, no, it's not. Boston's definitely kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. Now, we legitimately won those games, but as we saw later throughout the playoffs, if Boston was had a championship mental makeup, then we probably only would have won 1 game against Boston. But so we need to make significant changes to the roster. I'm talking like we need to get rid of 2 starters. We need some vets on the bench. We need a backup point guard. That staggering thing needs to come to an end. I don't know who idea that was. It was a bad idea. I think it throws off their rhythm. It's just stupid. But I like the way that we ended the year. I think we just need to we need to revamp the front court. You got to get rid of Collins and Capella, in my opinion. I will be fine keeping Collins. I'll be honest with you, Demar. I know you like him, but I would have him come off the bench, personally. If JJ took that next step this summer, I would have him come off the bench, to be honest with you. But if we kept him in a limited role and JJ took that next step, I wouldn't mind that. But I don't think just the politics, saving face, all that stuff, I don't think you're going to be able to have him come off the bench. Like, that's the same thing with Capella. Like, what their stature is within the team to then have them come and take a reduced role like that, I don't think you can do that. Same thing like in the work dynamic.
Well, you can't do that, Matt, because the player that you want to replace, maybe I could give you the Capella Okongwu, but Jalen Johnson is not an NBA starter as of now. Not on a team that's trying to win some games. There's no way I would sit John Collins for Jalen Johnson.
What if he gets to 35% from 3?
I don't have time on what if. So
I'm saying this summer. What if he come back next year?
Look at what he's done right now. 2 years in the league.
Well, really,
2 years in the 2 years in the league. Okay, what do we know about this guy? He can dominate lower level talent. That's why anytime he was in the G League, he putting up double doubles, 20 points, 20 rebounds. But when it comes to the NBA level, he not there yet. Sometimes he looks timid. He looks undecided. Okay. He can't shoot. We saw that in the Boston series. That's why did Quinn only played him what? Well, I think one game he had 11 minutes, one game he had 10. The rest of them was single digits minutes played. That guy's not ready. And I'm gonna tell you like this. They're not moving John Collins because if anything, a smart general manager, after what you already gave up for DeJounte Murray, those 3 first-round picks, okay, why would I give up another first-round pick to get off a guy who, if given the opportunity, since we got an offensive guru as a coach that you say he is, John Collins can contribute. He's not. It's not just about offensively where you can't play. It's not like John can't.
It's not
play.
That. It's defensively he has warts now. I mean, it's showing up more and more now as far as like guarding the perimeter. He gets knocked back so much.
Well, he's going
to get. My biggest reason getting rid of him, Demond, is actually not even basketball related. It's because this whole emotional leader thing, and that if John Collins is your emotional leader, you got some problems. Okay.
Well, who else gonna be the leader?
As far as that bringing that toughness and that
the best player on the team don't never say nothing. Okay.
Well, I mean, every when KD say, I just want to hoop, nobody say nothing.
Listen, KD used to be KD was all on the internet. He even had a burner account on Twitter. So KD
No,
loved
I'm
going
saying
back and forth.
within the team
But what I'm
dynamic.
saying is this:
He never led.
what John Collins, when he speaks, he assumes a role. Why? Because he is the longest tenured Hawk on the team. Why? Because our front office don't value veteran leadership, or we will have veterans on this team. So
I think
it's
yes,
right
but
for
I think that
John.
had a lot to do with Nate.
No, the reason we
Yeah.
don't have veterans is because that front office of your boy Landry Fields and them don't believe adding a veteran at whatever they making, vet minimum, whatever, wouldn't help the team. If they thought that would help the
I think it
team, they would
I
have
think it
one. Why
has
you
more to
think we had
do.
one? Which we always kept veterans with Travis Link. He
I think
always
it
had
had
key veterans on the team. Yes or no?
I, yes, but I think it had more to do with Nate than it had to do with them not believing that we didn't have a vet. Because it was a radio interview that Landry did last year before training camp. He talked about the fact that we needed room for JJ and the younger guys to develop. They're like organisms; they need air and
Bro,
oxygen.
you got a 15, you got 15 spots. You telling me
Oh, I
you
mean play. I don't mean be on a roster.
you don't you Donis Haslam don't play?
So
Does
okay,
he?
Demond. So I got Demond. So I got JJ, right? Um, we already picked up his option for next year, this coming season, right?
Right.
And according to y'all, he really shouldn't have played. He didn't play at all last year, right? Historically low for a first round pick in minutes. Not
What,
just the
last
Hawks,
year?
period. Historically low in
Because
for minutes
he
for
not
a
doing what
rookie.
he need to do to be on the court. He a liability on the
Okay,
court.
so this year, right? Y'all don't want him. Y'all. If we had a veteran at that particular position, like not Gallo, let's say we had Marcus
Why the
Morris
better? Why,
Senior or another power forward vet,
it don't have to be
he
the
wouldn't have
vet. Don't
played.
the vet don't have to be a power forward. That's why that's what I'm explaining to you. When we had Jeremy Lin, Jeremy Lin played. He didn't play that. He didn't play meaningful minutes, but he played. And what did Trae Young say? Jeremy Lin was a great mentor for him. When we
We
had
had vets.
Vince Carter got some burn, but come on, Vince Carter was only here to start his NBA TV
You don't
career.
consider Justin Holiday a vet?
Not a vet that we need. We needed a vet like we should have kept Dwayne Dedman, because Dwayne Dedman, you could use him. He don't have to play big minutes. You could have used him as the third center, maybe if a Conwu or if Clint Capella get in foul trouble. But let me tell you something. When Dwayne Dedman played for us the first time and Travis didn't keep him, Trae Young spoke out about that. That's why we ended up doing what? Trading back for Dwayne Dedman. That's what, and I was like, we should have just kept him. That showed you the front office really didn't value veterans at the time, because I don't think now Travis did keep veterans, but after that season, he let all the vets go. He let Lynn was I think Lynn was gone. He let Dedman go. I think that's the year we picked up Solo. I might be off. I might be off because I can't remember everything by detail. But I mean, at the end of the day, you need a solid veteran on this team if you want to. Obviously, we're probably not championship ready, but in order to go up a level, who's telling Jalen
Okay.
Johnson?
So that's the second. So that's the second part, Demond. So this coming season,
Okay, go
I
ahead.
expect what I want and expect. I fully expect a 50-win season. Trey's first 50-win season. I expect a home court first round playoff series. I expect a excellent home record. I mean, a really good home record, one of the best, I would say 5 to 7 home records in the NBA. And realistically, I would say, if we could be knocking on the door of the conference finals again, 6-7 games in the second round, I think that's realistic. To go from 6 games in the first round to the conference finals or the NBA finals, I think to have that as an expectation is unrealistic. But I say if you can get, like I said, a 6-7 competitive games in the second round and right on the doorstep of the first of the conference finals, I would take that as a very good season. Similar to the Knicks. we had a, I mean, how many games the Knicks win? 48, 50? If we have a season like that and you get obviously have a better showing in the second round than what the Knicks did, but if we could have a season similar to that, we host the first round, we win the first round in convincing fashion, we get to the second round, we're highly competitive with a finals team, or like I said, if we upset them or something and get to the finals. I think that would be a very good season. A top 5 offense for sure, and a top 17 defense. I think that's very fair expectations.
I can agree with that. I said that last year. Keep the offense top 10, improve the defense by 10 positions, which will put us between, like you said, that'll put us between 15 to 17. But that's still, even though we be 15 or 17 defensively, that's still a 10 position improvement, which I think we would win 50 games, when you and beat the teams we should beat. Can't get swept by, can't be losing 3 games to Charlotte.
But see, that's the thing, Demond.
What's the thing? Go ahead. Can you hear me, Matt?
You talking about bringing back a majority of the same team? How are we going to improve defensively? I think you glitched.
Big Matt.
Can you hear me?
Matt, can you hear me? You listen to me? You listening to me, Matt? Listen to me. Okay.
Demond.
Can you hear me, Matt? Breaking up here.
I can hear you.
All right, let me tell you like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you like this. The reason I say that we're gonna end up bringing the same people back.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The reason I say we're gonna bring the same people back is because what do we know? What's facts? Let's talk facts. Facts is this: Tony Ressler has never paid the luxury tax since he's been the owner,
and improve the defense.
That's a fact. He's never paid the luxury tax. We are above the luxury tax right now.
True.
We above the luxury tax.
Also have never paid a coach $8 million a year.
Well, we had no choice. You had no choice. You had to overpay in order to get Quinn to sign early. Quinn could have easily just waited and said, "No, I'm gonna come back to y'all guys," and waited for these other jobs to open up and pick one of those. So you had to throw money at Quinn, right? Just like the Hawks gonna have to do. Well, just like we did with DeJounte Murray, they threw extra stuff that nobody else would have offered to get DeJounte, which a lot of us agree. Looking back at it, probably was an overpay, like Travis Link said. Shout out Travis Link, we miss you. Like Travis Link said, it was a
Washington.
Yeah, it was an overpay. But like I keep telling y'all, we can wish all we want, but I'm gonna tell you what's about to happen, Matt. They're gonna get below the tax. I don't know who they're gonna move. I highly doubt it's gonna be Collins because they probably don't want to give up no more assets and be super bare with draft assets. Could be Capella, could be Bogey, but I'm gonna tell you like this: they probably gonna get below the tax and hope that Jalen Johnson and AJ Griffin take a massive leap in their development. He's not spending a lot of money. The vet, those PJ Tuckers, they not coming here. Those type of vets. You're definitely not getting another star player here at the moment. I don't think we're gonna get Jaylen Brown this year or next year. Because the owner don't want to spend the money. So that's my whole basis is just the owner spending money. If the owner was going to spend money, we'd be Gucci.
I wouldn't go into. I'll be honest. I don't think I would go into the tax this year simply because.
So how you going to improve the team? So Matt, how you going to improve the team when you already in the tax, but you don't want to pay it? So you got to get below it. So how do you improve the team?
Well, I think for us, we're in a good position because, like I said before, I think John Collins and Capella, their replacements are already on the roster. So it's not like we have to go out and search for a power forward to replace John Collins. We already have one. So, or we don't have to go out and go search for a center.
But he's not a starter, so we don't have his replacement.
I'm saying the way
you can starter.
I'm saying worst case scenario, you can move Hunter to the 4, or you have Bay. So you have options. But we're not like, oh my God, we got to find a
not winning option. But see, that's why I gave you. That's why I gave you the credit. That's why I gave you the credit. I said I agree with you on the Capella because I think Okongwu, I think he can start in the NBA now. So I'll give you Capella. But Jalen Johnson, he not ready to start right now. He not ready. I mean, he showed a flash here and there, but the playoffs showed you that guy's not ready to be a starter for the Atlanta Hawks. That's just my opinion. You good, Matt?
What about Hunter? Yeah, hold on. I had to get it. My charger. What about Hunter at the 4? That's a no.
Yeah, that's a no. To be honest with you, if I was being 100% honest with you right now, if somebody offered me a first round pick for Hunter, I probably would do it. I think Hunter has reached the ceiling. And I say ceiling physically. I think this is just me personally as a fan. I think his knees limit his ability to be able to attack, to be able to crash the boards. I think it's a reason why he don't crash the boards. At first, I used to think maybe it was because they have him at the 3-point line. No, I don't think it is. I think his knee is not 100% healed, 100% healthy. And I think that's the reason why he don't have an explosive first step to get past this man to get to the basket. So I would trade Hunter right now. If I could get a first round pick for Hunter, I would trade Hunter right now and slide AJ up in there, or slide Bogey, because Bogey's what? 6'7"? Slide Bogey. 6'6".
I thought you said you wanted to take a step up defensively. Those are two terrible defenders.
I do, but I'm saying right now, I'm looking at my assets. If I can get, I don't believe Hunter's going to get any better. Not with the Hawks. His role,
at 16 points a game with his defensive versatility. I think for what we paying him, $20 million a year, I think that's very good value. Because if I go and name another wing, whatever you want to call them, power forward, small forward, a wing at 16 points a game on that type of a contract, I don't think that's a bad deal at all. Because if I go name players that are better than him, they're all stars or they're on max contracts. Mikal Bridges is about to be an all-star or whatever, and he's the number 1 scoring option on Brooklyn. Obviously Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, that speak for themselves. What other wing that's comparable?
And it sounds like all those players are performing at an all-star level.
Yeah, that's what I said. All-star. They either all-stars or max.
Hunter not performing at an all-star level.
But he also don't get the same opportunities that Jaylen Brown gets,
and that's what I said, Matt. That's
even somebody like a Kelly Oubre, who I like.
But Matt, I said that. I said that. What? I said I think Hunter has reached his potential in Atlanta. He's not gonna get more touches. The touches he get now, he's not gonna get more. Okay.
Why? Especially if you heard Trey's podcast.
Because
we go to this motion offense.
He a one-trick pony, man. He can't attack the basket. He can only pull up at that free throw line.
He's very good in the. You don't think he's good in the post?
In the who?
Post.
Bro, how many times he be in the post?
We don't utilize that skill set enough, but he's good in the post, especially against mismatches.
But he barely played in the post. Come on, man.
But Demond, that's what I'm saying. I want to see him with Quinn because
I want to see him.
Quinn's background.
I want to see him.
Talking about. We about to be running a very Sacramento Kings, Denver Nuggets style offense where it's moving and popping and cutting and motion. I want to see what Hunter looked like in that type of an offense. That's a dream of mine. I've always said for the last 5 years,
listen,
Trey
Matt,
is a
listen.
brilliant passer. Can we get some movement?
My God, listen to me. Listen very carefully, okay? And I'm telling you this from experience, okay? You got to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay, you're getting excited about all this. We gonna do that, Matt. I'm here to keep it real, because I don't want you to be disappointed like I am. Okay, we gonna do this and all this movement. That's the exact same crap they supposed to do last year. You got none of that.
Whoa.
Listen to me, and I know what you're gonna say. You probably gonna say because of Nate McMillan. Listen, man, none of that's gonna happen. Trey gonna dominate the ball as usual.
When have you ever heard the word creative or innovative associated with Nate?
Never. But guess what I heard? You know what I heard? I heard Trey gonna be off ball. He gonna be doing all this movement. I'm going to Oklahoma right now. We gonna have a sit down. Trey agreed to it. Trey gonna do it. Listen, and what do we do?
But who is in charge of designing all that movement? And you can't trust the guy.
Prunty, your boy, and he didn't do it, did he? He didn't do it, did he?
Quinn, I like Prunty, but Quinn is on a different level.
I know, that's why he let Prunty go. So Prunty must not be that good. He let him go.
Quinn on a totally different level.
Matt, listen to me. Let me tell you what's about to happen. I'm gonna give you Trey gonna get the ball. He gonna dribble. Pass to DeJounte. DeJounte gonna dribble. He gonna pass it to Trey. One of them gonna shoot it. Okay.
That's what I was.
That's what's about to happen. I know you're
DeJounte Murray because
you're getting excited. I'm just trying to bring you to reality because you know me. You know I'm gonna be the first one to say, Matt, I told you.
I think we're gonna have a lot.
Where's all this movement we supposed to be having, Matt?
We're gonna have a lot more movement, a lot more deception, decoys. It's gonna be very. I would say it's probably going to be back to Bud, that 60-win Hawks team as far as the movement and the pace. Probably even faster than that team, because I always go back to Quentin Snyder's last press conference, that game 6 that we lost. He talked, 105 possessions is not enough. He said it's not fast enough. We got to play faster than that. So if he wants more than 105,
when I said
he must be talking about 110, 115 possessions. You know how fast you got to play, Demond, to get 115 possessions?
But what's more important, the possessions or getting good quality possessions? What's the point of going down there shooting a three with 17 seconds on the shot clock if your team is shooting 30% from three? What's the advantage?
Well, that's why you go get a Jordan Hawkins or Maxwell Lewis to increase that 3-point volume.
No, you need to increase other ways to score the ball. When that three,
I know you heard.
Look at Boston.
I know you heard Trey.
Boston couldn't hit no threes. They lost. They had no other way to score the ball. Meanwhile, Miami just.
I'm not saying only shoot threes. I'm not saying that.
Well, that's what Trey said.
Boston didn't do a good job mixing it up.
Trey just said on the podcast he gonna shoot more threes, but we gonna have another show about the podcast. We're gonna have a show
all right.
discussing Trey's podcast. But
okay. I was encouraged, by the way.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the podcast, but yeah, we're gonna have a show about that. But we're gonna go ahead and end it, Matt. So, any final words, any shout outs, anything that you want to put out there before we go ahead and end this interview with Mr. Matt, aka Trey Can Do No Wrong?
I believe, don't listen to Demond. I hold Trey to a standard. It's just I understand what we're working with. I understand the team around him. I understand to this point he hasn't had what I would consider a dynamic coach, but he finally does. So I'm going to be a lot more publicly hard on Trey next year if he doesn't meet expectations for me that I had, like I outlined, the 50-win season.
Matt. So Matt
is not because I believe for the first time, Trey don't got to do thinking for the whole 48 minutes, 82 games a year. He got somebody on the sideline, like he said, he can turn to that mentally is on a high elevation level.
And I'm glad you said that, Matt, because John Collins said the same thing. He said the same thing. John Collins said nobody on the team could meet Nate McMillan expectations mentally. You're right. They don't think. They probably do need somebody to think for them. You just said it.
No, I'm
You
saying
just, you
Trey.
just
I'm
said
saying
it.
no. I said Trey don't have to think the whole game, every game.
Right. They didn't.
Now
So
he got
you
somebody. He
right.
can look over to the sideline
So what you're
and
saying
Quinn.
is, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. So what you're saying, to use one of your quotes, one of your lines. So what you're saying is, the whole team with Quinn in charge is about to be breast milk. They about to be fed by Quinn. According to your logic, the whole team is about to be breastfed. That what we that breast milk. My bad, breast milk. According to Matt, so the whole team about to be breast milk now.
Hey, if that's what it takes to win, I'm all for it. I'm whatever it takes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm all for it.
All righty, family. Hey, this is my guy, Matt. Matt, I want to say thank you for doing the interview. Shout out to Matt, everybody. I want to also thank you for being on the channel after every game. Matt is up here all the time, and he be running his mouth on Twitter too. If y'all not in that Twitter chat, y'all missing out on Matt yapping and being wrong.
Next season, I'm coming for y'all in the comment section. Next season, I was holding back this year, but next year I'm coming full of throttle.
I can't remember what game it was, man. I need to go back and look, man. They was waiting for you in the chat, bro. They was like, "Where is Matt?"
It was probably one of Trey's 12 bad games all year.
They was waiting. They was like, "Where is Matt?" I was like, "I don't know where he at," but you showed up later. But from me, I want to say thank you for always coming on the channel, always in the post game lives. Myself, I love going back and forth with you. I think you're a cool cat. Even though, you probably right, probably about 20% of the time.
20% of the time.
Yeah, about 20.
That's what's getting acknowledged. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that credit. I mean, I don't think you haven't proved me wrong ever. Yeah, you ain't proved me wrong at all.
We're gonna hold that. We're gonna hold that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I got, man. Unless you got anything else to add, man. That's gonna be a wrap, player.
Alrighty, y'all.
All right, peace, Matt. Appreciate you, my guy. And we out of here, family. Comment, like, subscribe to the channel. We hit 1,000. We're trying to move up, be the #1 Hawks YouTube content fan channel, whatever you want to call us. Just don't call us no podcast. Interactive fan channel on YouTube. So hit that like button for the homies. You feel me? And we up out of here. And since this is my guy Matt, we got to go with the OG intro to end it, baby. Peace.